we desire authenticity. Okay, that's what people want. They do not want someone who's so polished because they can't connect with that. And that's what we're wired to do. We're wired to connect. And if I can't connect with you because you are just have this mask on, I'm going to turn off. I'm not going to listen to you. And that's especially some of my clients. They'll be like, I need you to be real. I need you to be a real person. I've had people say, I came to you because I felt like you were a real person.
This is Therapist Clubhouse, a podcast for private practice entrepreneurs. I'm Annie Schusler. This week, I'm talking to Bianca Hughes, a private practice entrepreneur in Roswell, Georgia. Listen as we talk about getting comfortable with video, embracing a niche, and building a private practice based on your superpowers. Welcome, Bianca. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Annie.
So
I'm excited.
Oh my God, we're both excited. So I want to talk to you about your entrepreneurial journey. Will you tell us about your private practice, starting with how long you've been in private practice?
Yeah, so I have been in private practice for 2 years, but I feel like since the end of December 2016 is where I really started to have that ramp up. I feel like I have changed to realize, wait, I have to have an entrepreneurial mindset. Mm-hmm. So since the end of December 2016 up until now, I've really been changing my mindset and looking at it as a business and, you know, the different things I can offer and things like that. So it's been 2 years, but since December, that's almost like 9 months and 10 months, something like that.
Yeah, 9 months of like at this level.
Yeah.
And that's around, I met you in, I think it was January of 2017, around there.
Yeah.
So I've gotten to see the ride. So
yes.
At this point, who would you say you see in your private practice?
So I specialize in perfectionism. Mm-hmm. Helping women, primarily women, helping them to just embrace their imperfections and authentically be themselves. Mm-hmm. So it's mainly a lot of identity work, guilt, shame, helping them realize they're good enough, finding there's a lot of environmental childhood factors coming into play in that whole I have to be perfect to be loved. So that's what my main focus is on, is the perfectionism. I also do adolescents as well and some couples, but my main focus is perfectionism.
Yeah. Tell us about your, I want to call it tagline, your sort of big message.
Yeah, that is the tagline.
Yeah. Embrace
your imperfections and authentically be you. And so kind of like when we were doing the course, I was doing the course with you, Annie, it's funny, I thought it was purpose, helping people with their purpose. Mm-hmm. But when I started to look at what I was continually writing and looking at, the authenticity piece came in. And I think that's also huge for me. I'm very big on being authentic, and it's a really hard place. It's a great place to be, but it's a hard place to be. And so that's what I felt like, because of course my own battles with perfectionism, I just felt like that's what I needed to do. I just needed to embrace the imperfections and just be who I am.
Mm-hmm. And in doing that, in embracing your imperfections and being who you are, it seems like then that has been really leading not just how you do your work, but how you do your marketing.
Yes. If it doesn't feel right, I don't do it. If it feels forced, I'm not going to do it. I won't force myself to do a post on Instagram or do a video if it's like, I won't do it because, I just feel like I need to do it, or I just have to do it because I have to be on Instagram. I'm going to do it when I feel like, okay, this is the message that needs to go out. This is what people need encouragement in on that day. So yeah, and even just networking with different people and just finding like-minded people. I just feel like it makes more marketing or connecting, however you want to, I call it connecting, yes. more easier when you find like your tribe. You find the people who have a similar mindset and a similar goal, and people that want to help. That's one thing that's huge, is meeting people that want to help and want to support. me as a therapist, whether they're a therapist themselves or whether they're not a therapist.
I'm betting that when you walk into a situation where you're thinking of it as connecting instead of networking, and you've got this mindset of it's okay to be imperfect, I'm imagining that you're talking to them the way that you always talk to me, the way that I always saw you talking to everyone else in the course, which is if somebody asks you how you're doing, you really answer the question and you really connect. And it seems to me like you're always the same person. You're not kind of, okay, now I'm professional, Bianca. You're just, you're you.
I do have some professionalism, but even in my profession, there's some authenticity there. Yeah, I'm going to be me.
No, and I don't mean at all that I've ever seen you be unprofessional. It's just that you don't seem to put on a different persona for it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because people, you don't want to surprise. I think one of the things someone said to me is that some people find it hard and some people find it easy. But one person said that I used to work with that they like to be with me because it's safe. They know what they're going to get when they're with me, and they don't have to worry if it's going to be something different. It's just safe.
Yes. Yes. I can totally feel that. And so at this point, you've been doing some cool stuff outside of one-to-one sessions. Like
yes.
You've been doing workshops, and tell me about that. What are you up to?
Yeah, I'm trying to get into the workshops. What I have done is, I think you can call it a workshop, is I connected with a career consultant. Her name is Jobbing with Jazz. I felt like a lot of my clients sometimes, once they get to that piece where they feel authentic, often at times they were like, I'm in the wrong career, or I need to change jobs. So I wanted to connect with a career consultant, and that's where I connected with Jobbing with Jazz. We met and we just hit it off, and she's like, I want to do this for women, and it was for women of color, it's called a sister siesta. And so it's about 20 women, and we just allowing these women of color just to talk about challenges they have in the workplace, just be free. And we've just had so many, maybe she's done about 4. So I've been about 3 of them, and I'll give them an exercise and they'll just share, whether it's, last one we did was value, that was so powerful, or self-care. That was just so powerful. Just these women, the strong Black woman, that we were breaking down that myth, and just these powerful women just tired of having that, and just giving them that space to just rest and just to talk is what the Sister Siesta is about. So I'm very happy that she allows me to facilitate that with her, because we have a lot of fun doing it, and I gain from it too. And I don't do it. It's not a marketing tool. Like, I don't do it to market, but it is a marketing tool, if that makes sense.
I think that's the perfect kind of marketing, quote unquote, tool, right? Is where you're doing something where you're meeting the people you love to work with right where they are and enjoying yourself by serving them. Like that's what marketing should be.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Just the women, and I've met other therapists. I think I'm going to lunch with someone today. Just people that you meet from there. It's just amazing. It's just, and then I have been doing some talks. I'm wanting to do the more speaking. I just did one this week at my school. They called me back and we talked about self-care. So, which is one thing I love to talk about. That's another thing I always encourage people. Talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then the other thing is, this was totally out of my realm, but it was for the Black men. After doing Sister Siesta, I realized that, and I was going through my Instagram and I was like, there is nothing for men. Like there's not this support for men. And then funnily enough, a friend had seen Sister Siesta. He sent a message and was like, yeah, we need something for men. And this was someone in the UK. And then someone here, another therapist colleague was like, okay, so when we doing something? I was like, okay, so men need something. So we did last month. It was called Mental Keys to Empowerment for Black Men. And that was talking about vulnerability. That was a Facebook Live, and that was just awesome. And I realized I love interviewing.
It was so awesome, Bianca.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then we also did the interview with a colleague and a friend of mine who shared that he has bipolar too. And I thought that was so when he shared it on Facebook, I was like, okay, people need to know about this. I'm such an advocate for mental health and getting people help, and especially in the Black community. And that's worldwide. There's this stigma that you're crazy or we don't want to let people in our business. So I wanted to share his story because he shared. And people, I still get messages from people when we shared his story about having bipolar 2. And that was another great interview. So we have one coming up again this month. And that's going to be on the incarceration, I think it's of the Black community and mental health and how that's intertwined. So yes.
Oh, I can't wait.
Those topics. Yeah, I love it because you're just reaching out and just sharing and just giving. That's one thing I love. I love to share information. I love to give information. I am an educator.
And making that so, using Facebook Live, and, you know, I saw you talking to your 2 colleagues. Using Facebook Live, it just makes it so accessible that someone can drop in from any point. And I'm imagining like a mother sharing that with her son, for example. You know, I'm just imagining like it's a really easy way to dip your toe in, and then seeing these 2 Black men who are therapists and who are talking about their own mental health and self-care. And yeah, it's really beautiful. So there'll be a link to that so people can check it out.
Yeah, definitely. Especially the vulnerability piece, because people kept texting and saying, we're so glad you talked about the vulnerability piece, because that's the piece that men don't always want to talk about. So yes, it's so needed. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you've been doing a lot of video, and more, like 2017 has been like the year of you getting on video.
Yes. It's so much easier to do a video for me, than to write a blog. I have so many ideas to write, and sometimes I'm like, I think one day I was like, I just want to write a blog, and I was like, I just don't have time to do this. Let me just do a video. And I just did the video, and everyone was like, and I went onto a Facebook group for therapists who do video, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're a natural. And I was like, okay, fine, this is what I'm going to do. So whether it's a 1-minute video on Instagram or a 5 or 10-minute video on Facebook Live, or if I pre-record it and put it on YouTube, it's just another way of people just educating them on different things. Because I think sometimes we think, especially I know me and as therapists, that everyone knows the stuff that we know and that we learn, and they don't. And so if someone not ready for therapy or not in a position to do therapy right now, they have some tools and they have some suggestions and things that they can do in the meantime, and just bringing the awareness, because you just be amazed.
Yeah. And so I'm thinking for video, it's so interesting how many times video has been coming up on this podcast, even just in the last month. And I'm thinking, there are therapists who are at these different places with video. There's someone like you who feels like it's natural. This is like way easier to do than having to sit down and write. And then there are people who feel like, oh my God, it's really scary to think of talking to a camera. And I think one thing is it's really important to do what feels like it's within your superpower realm. And so for you, that's obviously video and writing. I mean, you've written some great stuff, but if you're not feeling it and you're feeling video, great, do that. But I'm thinking for someone who's uncomfortable, I think it's also, like me, for example, I think it's worth pushing that edge. I think it's worth exploring. So what would you say about how to get started with video for someone who's just like, this is brand new? How would you get started?
I would just do it on your phone. I had this conversation with someone. Just do it on your phone. Just do a quick 1 minute. What do you want to talk about? Always do something, the material that you love to talk about. That's easy. Just do what you love. Don't think that people already know this stuff, because they don't. So just talk about what you love to talk about. You can talk about freely. What are you always writing about, or what's always coming up for you in session? that you feel like you have to teach to your clients, because as a therapist, we're also educating them as well. So what are you always educating your clients on? And just do a take. Don't just do a raw take. Don't worry about editing the take, and then just play it back and ask the opinion of others. There's the Facebook group, was it Flat Film It, where you can post it and you can get feedback. So that's just do something that you like to talk about. If you need pointers, I have pointers. Sometimes I don't want to go off task. So I write, I think I said in the video, I was like, excuse me if I'm looking at my paper, I have pointers. So I didn't care. I was like, this is real, this is raw, this is one take, and this is what's happening. So yeah, just even have that whilst you're doing it, and just play it back and just start to see. But the thing is just to do it. My mom always says, just do it. Yes. Just do it, Bianca. Just do it. And she's right.
I think this is great advice too, this idea of going ahead and narrating. If there are things going on like that you're finding yourself looking at your bullet points, or if there's something going on with your phone, just narrate so that you're not holding that in and trying to come across as perfect.
Yeah. And that would be that embracing those imperfections. Yeah. Just be like, look, this is what I'm doing. Oh my gosh, I made a mistake. Oh, I'm just repeating myself, guys. I'm sorry. Just because that's what people connect with. People, oh my gosh, we desire authenticity.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what people want. They do not want someone who's so polished, because they can't connect with that. And that's what we're wired to do. We're wired to connect. And if I can't connect with you because you are just have this mask on, I'm going to turn off. I'm not going to listen to you. And that's especially some of my clients. They'll be like, I need you to be real. Mm-hmm. I need you to be a real person. I've had people say, I came to you because I felt like you were a real person. So yeah, that's what I just encourage. And you're not going to get it right, and you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay.
Yeah. And you use video in at least 2 or 3 places. One is on your video blog.
Mm-hmm. On my website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So on your website, you've got a whole bunch of videos, and then you also use videos on social media.
Yes. Yeah. So I have videos. Most of the time, the videos I post on YouTube or on my website. Mm-hmm. I probably have more videos on YouTube than on my website. Then I'll have Facebook videos on there too, and Facebook Live videos especially. And then on Instagram, I'll have the 1-minute videos on Instagram, because people's attention span are short. So I just do a 1-minute video just to give them a bit of inspiration for the day. I have tried Instagram Live once. I'm not a fan of it. I prefer Facebook Live, because I noticed that when you have a business page, Facebook Live and videos get seen more than when you just do a regular post. So,
absolutely. Way more. Yeah.
Yeah, way more. So
how often do you get in front of video in a given week?
I try once a week, at least once a week. Mm-hmm. So it's not often.
Probably doesn't feel that way to you.
Yeah, maybe. At least once a week.
At least once a week.
Yeah, if not, maybe a few times a month.
Mm-hmm. So just kind of keeping it regular, keeping that warmed up.
Yeah. Right. Just keeping it there, just being consistent, because people, and this will just go just to say to therapists listening to this, like, people are watching you. Mm-hmm. I had an email this week that someone another therapist that I had met her once, and she has been seeing me and says, I like the stuff that you're doing. Can we collaborate and do a project? Mm. And that's just, and I know the only reason I know that she's doing that is because she's on Instagram. I've only met her once, and I know she follows me on Instagram, and that is where you get known. That's where people kind of see you. But it doesn't have to be, I'm not saying to do it every single day. I'm just saying to have some form of consistency, maybe, because I don't beat myself up if I don't. That's that self-compassion piece. If I can't get to it, I might just repost someone else's stuff. If I can't do my own, I repost, and I'd be like, oh, that was really good. Let me share that. Just to have some form of consistency out there, and people can see your work. That's what you people to see your work and see your style.
And I would recommend too doing what you're doing, which is choosing a couple of platforms or even one and showing up there and being consistent there rather than trying to do everything.
Yeah, I used to be like on Pinterest, and I was like, this doesn't work for me. So my main focus is Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. Instagram for the pictures, and then some videos, and then Facebook for the videos. But you can also always post your Instagram picture onto Facebook and connect that. So you have at least that on there, and it's easier to manage. And YouTube, whenever I just do a Facebook Live, I just download it on there.
Excellent. Having one piece of content do more work.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yes, exactly. So you do a Facebook Live, download it, put it on YouTube, because everyone is not, I just want everyone to remember, everyone is not on Facebook, and people do use YouTube. So that's another audience that I can reach that I may never reach on Facebook.
Yeah. So let me take you back to your practice. I want to ask you nitty-gritty questions about your practice that people love getting the answers to. How many sessions a week do you like to have in your therapy practice?
So the maximum for me is 10. So in one day, I do a day and a half at the moment. So in one day, one session, 5 is my max, 6 is a push. So the max of 10, because for me, I don't want to do private practice full time. I still work in a behavioral health hospital. I enjoy that work. It keeps me connected and up to date, and I get to do group work. And then, of course, moving into speaking engagements. So I've never wanted to do private practice full time. That's just my personality. I can't stay. My hands need to be in a few more pots. But yeah, that's the max. 10 a week is my maximum.
And could you imagine, we can totally edit this part out, Bianca, if you want, but could you imagine wanting to do your solo business full time, even if it wasn't all sessions? Like, could you imagine wanting to expand to where you're doing more workshops, groups, maybe even paid public speaking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Once that gets off the ground running, I think we talked about this, I would love to move into coaching, helping other therapists. Because I kind of do that anyway. I find that I just do it anyway. I was helping someone recently, and they was like, oh my gosh, I need you to give me a testimonial, just because I like to help. And I think I can just see things and understand the struggle. So definitely speaking. I think it was speaking, seeing clients, and coaching. And at one point down the line, maybe a podcast. But other things can come in. So I'm willing and I'm open when those opportunities, and of course the workshops as well. So yeah, I really do. I am like about making a difference about mental health, not just seeing my clients, but getting the word out there. So, about mental health, I'm a huge advocate, and I just want to make that change. I just want to remove the stigma of mental health any way that I can. And I think that's what I'm focused on.
Yeah. And what do you charge in your private practice right now?
$120 per session.
How do you feel about your fee?
I love my fee.
That's what I like to hear.
I do the work. I put in my time. Like, I read and I feel it. When I leave, I'm tired to the point that I feel it in my back, because I'm putting myself in there. And I think working with you, Annie, we went through the fee and looking at it, and really, I think for so many of us therapists, especially I think for women, just having to separate our personal worth from our business worth. And you just have to know your worth as a therapist, not just as a person. Who are you as a therapist, and what is the work that you do? And so I think that's so key. Like I always think of Apple. Apple doesn't reduce its prices, right? Apple sets this high amount. You pay a lot for Apple, but you get for the product, and they have no problem in that. And I think that's the thing that we have to overcome as therapists, which I've definitely had to overcome, and look at it as not me, Bianca, but the therapy work that I do, and that this is a business. This is not.
Absolutely. And so this leads me to, I want to have you join me for a listener question, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And like I was going to have you help me with this later, but it just fits right now. Listener question. So this person said, I'm considering raising my fee for existing clients between 20 and 30 more per session. I know this is a big jump, and I may decide to stick to my usual plan, which is $10 a year, but I'd love to hear thoughts and experiences. So this person then, obviously, like the $10 a year wouldn't be getting them to the fee that they need quickly enough. Like they've been charging too little.
Oh, okay. So they're trying to, well, I would just set the fee that you know that you're worth, and give clients and tell the clients, this is what's happening. I made some changes and this is my new fee. And what can you pay? I did that when I changed my fee, and they paid.
Mm. And so you asked people, you said it, but then you also said, what can you pay for existing clients?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I gave them the option. This is what you're paying now. This is my current fee, and this is what it's increasing. Come back to me and let you know. And for most of my clients, I was like, I'll pay. You're worth it.
Awesome.
You're worth it. Like we don't realize how much we mean to our clients. And that person, he or she is going to feel awkward. You're going to feel some guilt. You're going to feel some anxiety, but that doesn't mean that I should change my fee because I'm feeling these things. Things change.
Yeah. So let yourself feel the feelings instead of trying to fix it.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. And I think you can give them notice, and you can, like you did, Bianca, you can make it a conversation and just decide before you step into the conversation, what would your bottom line be? Like if this person was just unable to raise, would you keep them at their current fee? There's no right or wrong answer to that, but just make sure you know
what it is. And then going forward, you're going to give new clients the fee. So it's going to take some adjusting. It just doesn't happen overnight. But I did it and my clients were fine. And I know other people who have done it and their clients were fine. Like some were fine, or some met them, some way. It's not going to be perfect, but you'll be surprised how many people agree to the new fee.
Yeah. And Bianca, if you could time travel to the start of your private practice, what would you tell the Bianca of that time?
Ooh. We're talking 2 years ago, or we're talking last December?
Let's say 2 years ago.
Okay. Be patient.
Oh, that is so not what I thought you were going to say. Okay, be patient. Yeah.
Be patient and enjoy the process. I think I'll probably tell myself to maybe get out there a bit more, to meet other therapists. And that it actually seems more daunting than it is.
Okay.
Because other therapists want to meet other therapists, and they love it when people reach out to them. But yeah, be patient. What did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say that more like that second part of put yourself out there. Okay. But I love hearing your real answer. And that's why I asked.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Patient.
And that goes with your, wanting to fight against perfectionism, that you would say, be patient.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, be patient. I think that comes from the word that I came up today with was just be gentle on yourself in every area of your life. And that's that self-compassion, because with the perfectionism, there's such a tendency to be so hard and judgmental that self-compassion doesn't even have a look in the door. And we actually have a better day when we're patient and gentle with ourselves. We don't expect so much when we're patient.
That's so true. And for me, it doesn't even mean that I get anything less done, which might be the fear. Like, well, if I'm too gentle with myself, I'm just going to be lazy and I won't get anything done. But the truth is, I don't think we would ever tell our clients that. And the truth is, if we're gentle with ourselves, then we're just going to be a little bit more present with everything that we're doing.
Absolutely. It goes back to, I was talking about this the other day. It's a shame-based thinking that gets in the way. And one of the big shame-based thinking, I think, gets in the way, I know for me and a lot of people that deal with perfectionism and some therapists, is I'm not enough or I'm not doing enough. Yeah. And so we have to say to ourselves, I am enough and I am doing enough, because there's going to be some weeks when I can just be like super Gonzali and strong, absolutely this amazing woman and get everything done. And other weeks I'm not, and that's okay. So we just have to say I am enough and I am doing enough.
Yeah. And most of us are running solo practices. And so that's going to have to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Bianca. So what is the best place for therapists? I will put in links to other things too, like the Facebook and all of it. But what's the best place for therapists to find you and throw compliments at you?
So my website is Bianca K. Hughes, spelled HUGHES.com. And then I think the best place I get most interactions would be on Instagram. And that would be Authentically Be You. Nice. Is my Instagram. And I know you'll put the links up there for Facebook too, but that's the most place people find me. I think on Facebook I am, Bianca Hughes, MAAPC. Yeah.
Okay, great.
I think that would be on Facebook, but the best place is Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bianca.
Thank you, Annie.
Today's Snark Moment.
Snark Moment
is about stolen copy. It's way better to have copy that's imperfect than taken from someone else. You really have to write your own copy. I've had mine taken a couple of times and it really stinks. It stinks for me, but it also doesn't serve the other person who took it. You need to find your voice and identify your right fit clients and then write your copy from that place. When you find your voice, you're not going to need to steal it. Copy is something that we spend a lot of time on in my programs because it really matters. It's fine to hire someone to write your copy for you. It's part of the writer's job to listen to you and find your voice and then write that way. And by the way, if you write great copy and somebody else steals it, the first thing you want to do is just write them a friendly email, friendly but firm, letting them know that you found the copy and asking them to take it down. And for me, that's all I've had to do. Thanks for listening to Therapist Clubhouse. Have you taken my private practice strength assessment yet? It's an assessment I created for you to help you find out what areas you should be focusing on in your business. After you take the assessment and score your answers, you'll get advice on what to do in 5 different areas. So head over to coachingwithannie.com and you'll see it right there on my homepage. See you next week.